Today in this video I'm going to do a presentation on how to effectively praise students. The reason I chose this is because when I was in school, I felt that teachers didn't always necessarily know how to effectively praise their students when they did something well. And I felt like at times they would get upset with students and yell at them, and they wouldn't really know how to constructively criticize. And then when students would do something well, they wouldn't necessarily know how to praise them effectively or at all for that matter. Sometimes it seemed like they only focused on the negatives. So what is praise? Praise is positive feedback in the form of a written or spoken comment. So then there's three types of praise we will learn about in this video. The first is process praise, which is the evaluation of the process used to complete a task. The second is performance praise, which is the evaluation of the end product, how you perform on it. And then the third is person praise, which is favorable judgment about a person's attributes or behavior. So now I'll give you a few examples of the different types of praise so you kind of get a better idea about them. So an example of process praise would be something like saying to a student, "I noticed how you showed your work on the math problem." You are praising them for the process they showed to complete that math problem. You're saying, "Hey, look, you showed your work really well." So you're focusing on the process they used to get to the end there, the end product. For performance praise, an example of that would be the graph is exactly what it should look like. This time, you're praising the end product. You're saying, "Hey, you did it right. Good job." The third one would be person praise, and something like that would be saying something like, "You're so smart." And now they don't recommend using person praise because it isn't very effective. It doesn't really give any positive feedback. You say something like, "You're so smart." What good is that doing for you? You're not getting that positive feedback you need. So there's 4 different things you need to do to use praise effectively. The first is to make praise specific to the behavior being reinforced. You want to make sure you're clear with what you're praising. You want to say precisely what you're praising. You don't want to be vague about it like in person praise. You want to make sure you're saying the right thing. And another thing you want to make sure is to not compare students to each other when trying to praise. You don't want to say, "Hey, Jimmy, you did such a better job than Brad on that assignment." That's not good. Brad's not going to appreciate that very much, I don't think. And you want to make sure to give sincere praise because obviously if it's not sincere, eventually it's not going to have an effect on the students anymore. So to be sincere, you don't want to praise students too much, obviously. And you don't want to praise them for easy tasks. If you're praising them for easy tasks, eventually the praise is just going to lose its effect. Then you want to make sure to give praise that is contingent on the behavior to be reinforced. Once again, you're trying to make sure you're actually praising them for the right thing, being clear about what you're praising, praise them for their successes. And then don't use person praise. Once again, a lot of bad things can happen there. Some of the problems with person praise is it will hurt someone's intrinsic motivation. It can lead to the belief that ability is fixed, which isn't good because then a student will believe they can't possibly get any better. And it can be especially detrimental to students with low self-esteem. So now we're going to do a little review here of the 3 types of praise. I'm going to give you a statement and think to yourself what kind of praise this is, and I'll let you know what it is. So the first example here is, "You're so easy to teach. You're always so quiet." Think to yourself what kind of praise this would be. This would be an example of person praise because you're not really giving them, you're complimenting them on their behavioral attributes. You're not really giving them any substance to it. There's no real positive feedback. Plus, saying you're always so quiet isn't a good thing to say to a student. You don't want to encourage them not to speak up in class. And here's another example. "I noticed that your notes were clear so that others can follow your steps." Think to yourself what kind of praise that would be. If you got process praise, you would be correct because we're praising them for the steps they took or for their notes. You can easily follow the steps in their notes. You're praising the process there. Now here's a third example. You were able to correctly identify the value of each variable. Now think to yourself which one that is. This would be an example of performance praise because you're praising them for the correct answer. They got the correct values of the variables. So you're praising them for the end product. So in review, we got our 3 types of praise: process, performance, and person. And then we talked about the 4 steps to using praise effectively. And hopefully this video will help you to be able to learn how to positively praise kids in the classroom and to help your students succeed.